We are at signature number 3 in my second journal that I completed for myself. As I have said previously, oops, that's a little sticky on the sorry ribbon. If this is your first time here, I made my first 2 journals for myself because I knew I would make all kinds of silly mistakes in them. So this is the second journal I completed, and I had intended to make one for myself, but I made the signatures so chunky that I ended up just dividing those into 2 different journals. So very amateurish mistake. So again, this is Cotton and Twigs Granny Chic paper, just like the second signature here. And this signature is a B signature. The first 2 signatures in this journal, I didn't really have a theme. I just did like florals and nature. And this one, there were so many cute bee kits out there that I couldn't resist. So I had to do a bee signature in this journal. And I don't remember exactly where all of the papers come from. I will link the shops where I bought all the ephemera, though, all the, papers and ephemera and stuff. So you can see again my tacky t-shirt lining here that I did to kind of give strength to the faux glassine. And I will link Nick the Booksmith's video again below this video, so you can watch it if you're interested in how to make this faux glassine. But I just have a couple cards here. This is not B, of course, but this is Bohemian Gypsy cards. That is from Adamo Prints. I have a few of them in the signature. I think she's really cute. And you can see my printer was acting up again, and I've got the lines going across. If I clean it, it takes care of that, but I was, dawdling and not getting it done and just printing to see how things would print out. And then this, I think, is my porch prints, part of the ephemera in one of her bee kits. And I just did a little honeycomb and flower and bee stencil here. I think this is one stencil, but I did the honeycomb so that I could do a larger area. And this one just has some little flowers stenciled on. And this is Wild Honey, and this is Tattered Rose. This is also Tattered Rose on that card. More gold splatters, and you'll see it all over. This is a scrap of one of my papers. I call this My Golden Roses, and it's kind of a brighter yellow. I tea stained it pretty good, and then inked it heavily, and did some torn paper bag pieces again here, little chunks of paper bag. Another, recycling project. And I just glued them in here and did some stencil on each one. And then I actually stenciled on this page here too. But this will be in one of my Bohemian Papers kits. And my porch prints, that's one of her bee kits again. That's a cute little image. And this is one of her papers, and I tea stained it and did some stenciling. It's just a blank page. Or it was before I did my little thing on it. And I used a postcard for a pocket here, and did another of those Bohemian Gypsies from Adamo Prints. She's so pretty. Love that card. Did a little flower and bee stencil on the back and some gold splatters. This is, of course, Cotton and Twigs Granny Chic paper, one of the papers in her kit. Tea stain paper with some stencils, and another little bee paper from, I believe, My Porch Prints. And then another tea stain paper, and a fussy cut flower, and a stencil. And I'm not sure if that's Angela Kerr's or the other shop that I have, but I will link both below this video. My Porch Prints, I believe that's Granny Chic, or Granny's Attic. And I have to say, I have two Granny's papers here. One is My Porch Prints, Granny's Attic, or Grandma's Attic, one or the other. And the other is Cotton and Twigs, Granny Chic. So you'll hear me saying both of those again. This is one of the pages from one of my garden books. And for my journal, I photocopied the pages that I wanted to use in it, so that I can save the originals to use in future journals. And it looks like this is part of a candy wrapper here, and I'm going to show this process as I go along, how I get that to do that. Little mottled look. And got a bee stencil and some grunge here on the edges. And this, again, the printer was doing those lines, but I wasn't too worried because I was just playing around with it, experimenting. And then decided later to use it in my journal. So I've got a little invisible paper clip here. I think these are both My Porch Prints. Could be wrong on that. This side of the hidden paper clip is from Mrs. Cogg's Crafts. That is her pollinator kit. So she has a kit called Pollinators, and that's from that. And I have another piece of ephemera in here from that kit too. My Porch Prints, one of her bee postcards, and some grunge and a stamp back here. And a little stencil here. Love that. Very Nouveau-ish, or Art Deco-ish to me. My Porch Prints bee kit again. And I stenciled on the inside flap here. And this is her watercolors kit. I think you can see my gold splatters. Very grungy and yummy. Love that. And a little stencil here and some more splatters, and I did some darker tea spots too. Very cool. Oh, that may be coffee actually. And I'm going to be doing soon a video on my tea staining and paint staining processes, and I'm going to add some little things, some other little tidbits in there on that video. So this is My Porch Prints, and I did a honeycomb stencil around here, and then did some little flowers on the back, and it looks quite pink on the video, but it's actually a really pretty orange, little pink tint, but not too much. And My Porch Prints, I believe. And then this is Granny Chic from Cotton and Twig again, one of the papers in that kit. And then this, I've been saying this shop wrong, and I do it all the time, and I totally confuse myself about which one is right and which is wrong. I usually say Les Vintage Chocolat. It is actually Vintage Les Chocolat, but that's that rose page that I use so often. And these little elements are from My Porch Prints. That is another piece of her watercolor papers. And I just did a simple little stencil there and grunged it up really good. This little pocket is one of the pieces from her bee kit. And I got a little rose stencil on the flap. And then a rose vine here. That's one of my favorite stencils. But this paper is also My Porch Prints, one of the plain papers from her kit. This is Digital Fit, her bee kit, and a tea stain page with some stenciling. This is very faint. You can hardly see it, I think, on the video. And then a little fussy cut image of some bee skeps there. This is actually another Angela Kerr idea. This is a little page hanger. Well, it's not little. It's actually the size of my pages. And try to get it. Actually, I'll probably just take it out. Let me flip through this. So this is my Porch Prints, Grandma's Attic. This is one of my Bohemian papers again. That is my Sepia Roses. Over on this side, we have Cotton and Twig, a little scrap. That's the other part of a piece that I used in my second signature, where I have my little, the ladybug photo that I did as a digital. I used part of that in that little wallet that I have that card in. Pussycut Rose that I cut the stem off of and everything. Granny Chic from Cotton and Twig again. And this is so pretty. Love this. This is from Milena Art Studio, or Milena Art Designs, I think. And it's one of her floral book pages. And got a little aster on the back, or not, or yeah, I think it's an aster. And so then I'll take this off of here, off the page. And this is the inside. I think this is my Porch Prints. I love Horehound candy. It's an old-fashioned little candy. So on the front side, I have one of the bee papers. I think my Porch Prints. And then I have another one of those on the inside. And I did a little side pocket from Cotton and Twig's Granny Chic paper here. And I did a little envelope. You can see my little window there. And my big punch wasn't working very well and kind of muddled the edges, but I think it's cool like that. And this envelope is actually from Cherish Horse Graphics. I think that is part of her Dragonflies kit. I have a little fussy cut flower on this side, and I just did another little scrap of paper for the tag, or for the tab there. I will move these aside. My Porch Prints, Grandma's Attic, or Granny's Attic there. This is one of my papers. That's actually another piece of that Golden Roses paper. Yep, right back here. And I did a little side pocket or tuck spot here. And this is actually just printer paper that I printed my paper onto. Tea stained it, grunged it up, actually cut it or tore it out, grunged it up, glued it in, did a little stencil along the side, and then just splattered and smeared some gold paint on there. I think it looks really cool, especially with this great card. And this is Mrs. Cogg's Crafts again, her Pollinators kit. And just love that card. And I did a bunch of stenciling on the back. Again, looks like Mehendi to me. And over here I've got some Wild Honey Distress Oxide, vintage photo stencil here, and some gold splatters. Granny Chic from Cotton and Twig again. Some of that vintage Le Chocolat paper in draft, and I tea stained it very heavily. This little bear with the bee skep, so cute, and I spent about 10 minutes trying to figure out where I would put it in here, and he ended up there. And he's so cute. And this is Digital Fits bee papers. Not sure, I think that is my Porch Prints. And one of her cards. I believe this is from the Vintage Lilacs, and I just used it here because it has a bee, and I did stencil flowers all over back here, and a rose on this side. And then I have a CD sleeve, and this paper on the front is Granny Chic from Cotton Twig again, and that is her quilted collage sheets there. It's one of those, and I made the tag out of it. I won't take it out because I put it on this side instead of over here, which would make sense because you could flip it out and access the card easier. I can get it, it's fine, but that's a newbie mistake. This is Granny Chic from Cotton and Twig again, and I have a little, well, he's not little, he's a little bug charm there, and again, that'll be one of the kits that's in my Amazon storefront. Another page from one of my garden books with the stripes across from my printer. And then this is my Porch Prints, one of her, part of the ephemera from her bee kit. And another Bohemian Gypsy Girl, one of those cards from Adamo Prints. And I've got stenciling on the back, cute little bee with a flower, and just two little ovals cut out of 60-pound paper and glued. I don't know if I put cardboard in between or not. It's very stiff, so I might have, but I'll show you how I do that in the future as well. Okay, and on to the last leg of our journey through this second journal. And this is the second part of the third signature. So I have my little, where I sewed my signature together here, my little bow, and I put some little page hangers here, or string hangers, sorry, little bee and bee skep, and can't remember which kit I got that from. And I have, actually, let me take these are just little tags I made out of the page from one of my garden books. And I did just some simple little peacock feather stenciling on the back. This is actually part of an advertisement, and it was advertising a honey soap or something, and they had, you know, it's the cell from a beehive. And I did Cotton and Twigs Granny Chic paper on there. And I just, you know, left the slots so, you know, these little tags can go in here. So that's just gluing on the outside and then the bottom here. And that leaves each of those open. I did some stenciling on the back. Love those stencils. Here's more of my Golden Roses paper, just to make a little corner tuck here. And these are Mrs. Coggs Crafts Farm, Vintage Farm cards or kit. Very cool. I love the shepherdess there. So cute. It's very cool. It's actually paper bag on the back and some wild honey stenciling. And a bee skep from one of the bee kits. I believe my Porch Prints. I think I've accredited my Porch Prints with some of the digital fit stuff, maybe some of the digital fit stuff to, I don't know, I've done it backwards. Anyway, here's more of my modeled paper that I'm going to show how to do that. This is Ruby and Pearl, this centerfold here. I think it's such a cool, this is her French magazine kit. A very cool image. And then my Porch Prints watercolors again. And these are actually much more vibrant than what you're seeing here. I have tea stained them really well. And that fades some of the ink and makes the background more, you know, a little darker than what it is before. So when you print them out, they will look very different than this. Gold sparkles there. And I love this back. It's just a grungy girl thing. And got some, I tea stained the back and did my vintage photo distress oxide around the edge. A vintage photo, I believe, stencil here, part of a doily stencil. And I think this is coffee, these darker spots here, which I think are totally cool, and just splattered it all over with gold paint. I don't know, it works for me. And another plain page that I just did some stenciling on, little bees, very cute. More of my golden roses to make a pocket, and another of Mrs. Cog's pollinator cards, and a little bit of stencil here. And I love this stuff where it's like, just looks so grungy and unusual. This is part of a bee kit page, and this is Digital Fit, one of her pages. I think this is Cherish Horse Graphics and the little coin envelopes from, and she's got bees. I might have her bee kit as well. I'm thinking I might have some of her stuff. This is one of my digitals, some dogwood blossoms that I snapped a picture of. And I just love the way the branches, like, you know, are flourished there. I love that. More of the bee pages, kind of a sepia color one. And another of the Bohemian Gypsy Girls. And again, you can see the stripes from my printer. And a cool little stencil. More of the Cotton and Twig Granny Chic paper. And that has, I think, 8 pages in it. 8 different pages in that kit. It's very good bargain. This is Ruby and Pearl, a little scrap of one of her papers. This is my porch prints. I believe Granny Chic or Granny's Attic or Grandma's Attic. I'm going to be confusing both of us here. A little bit of stencil there. And a lot of stencil here in Wild Honey. Bee stencil. Very cool little stencil. I think that's more of the pollinators from Mrs. Cog's. And then this is pollinators as well. And then my golden roses paper here on this bookmark. I have a little bug charm there, little tiny one. And I used my same lace edge punch to, you know, punch the lace ends there. And just did a cool little flourished rose. Hopefully you can see that. Looks good. That is in Tattered Rose. And I have this wonderful Bohemian paper from one of my kits. And I've used it several times in this signature. And that is my porch prints from her. I believe that's Grandma's Attic, or Granny's Attic. This is her, she has a bee postcard kit. And that's another one of those. Got a bit of good golden smears there. Little stencil. cool lotus blossom stencil, digital fit, and more of my rose stencil and some little corners down there. Very light. Granny Chic and Vintage Le Chocolat. My Porch Prints. Stenciled on a grungy paper. Tea and coffee, I think. And a little scrap of my Bohemian paper, that same, you've seen it a couple times in this signature. And now I'm not going to find it. There it is. So that, same as that, and same as this little flourish. And got a little scrap of paper bag with some stenciling on it, and a little scrap of that Bohemian paper. And this is Mrs. Coggs Crafts Vintage Farms kit again. Such a cool little image. It reminds me of my cousin. Very much that rosy, gorgeous girl. That's why it's in my journal, because it does remind me of her. And this, another newbie mistake. I'm going to show you this application that I do, that I figured out, but I glued the picture onto the wrong side. So this is fuzzy. I did stencil on it, but it's kind of fuzzy. It's going to be hard to write on that. I'll live with it. Nice stencil there. Pocket from Cherish Horse Graphics. And a card again from My Porch Prints watercolor kit. And this is just 60-pound paper, and I didn't back it or anything. It's floppy, but it's okay. It is tea stained, so it's a little heavier. Got some stenciling and some grunge going on here. And then this is actually My Porch Prints Grandma's Attic. And I did some, I don't know if you can see them, I did just bits of bee stencil around. It just looks like there's a wing here and a body here. I don't know. Interesting. Tea stain paper with a little bit of stencil that I did really light there. This is one of the bee kits. I think that's My Porch Prints again. And this little envelope, little pocket here, did some beehive stenciling there, and did a little fussy cut flower. And this is Cotton and Twigs. That is her quilted collage tags again. And it looks like that's just the edge of the paper there. And another bee stencil. And very nice rough edges. I just love that. Another stencil here. Again, Cotton and Twigs Granny Chic, Vintage Le Chocolat, scraps of paper. And Granny Chic. This is my Bohemian paper, a little wing from that. Just, you know, advantageous tearing. You can do some fun stuff. And then this is a little card I did with a page from one of my garden books again. And stencil on the back. And then another little bee charm. I'm not sure where that comes from, It's a cool page, and I think it is from one of the bee kits. It might be Cherish Horse. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. I will link it below, or link the shop below so you can find it. Stencil page. And a little pocket I made out of one of the pages from my garden book. A Granny Chic card with some paper bag on the back and a stencil done in wild honey. And this is, I think that might be Cherish Horse again, but I don't know. And the Faux Glassine and the back cover. And that is the second journal. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me next time. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.